interesting topic, and I'm sure we'll learn a lot. Beauty is never a one product miracle, and we often come across people who have a very attractive and charming persona and just shine through like light. In this workshop, we'll dive into deep rooted dimensions and forces that work deep within to give smooth, flawless skin, lustrous hair, endless energy, vitality, and radiance all in one. This session will be facilitated by Deepti Sehgal. Deepti Sehgal is the founder of Swarasya, internationally certified macrobiotic and alkaline diet and lifestyle consultant. She's among very few macrobiotic practitioners in India. Deepti is a qualified nutritionist and a certified raw and living foods consultant, a yoga teacher with a master's degree in yoga and science of living. He has been educated in traditional Chinese medicine lifestyle and is a certified yoga and wellness coach. She is also the author of Body and Mind Transformation in the Ancient Way. She has devised deep-rooted Pranic Beauty concept with five-dimensional approach to beauty, which is an outcome of her years of knowledge and practice in global and ancient life sciences. I now welcome all of you to the workshop, and over to you, Deepti. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ashna, and welcome everyone to this workshop. I'm sure you will gain a lot. So I would, so we will go a little slow because we are still waiting for some other guests to join. In the meantime, I would just request you all, there are going to be a lot of takeaways from the workshop. So maybe you can just catch hold of a pen and paper to make some good notes, and these tips are definitely going to give you a lot of transformational changes if you stick to these changes, which we will be discussing in the session today. Okay, we do have a giveaway, and we have some rules for the giveaway. Keep your cameras on and be on mute. That's very important. We will be choosing the winners only if your videos are open, and your of course, we if required at the end of the session we will be opening the platform for a Q&A session. So in that case we will ask you to unmute, but till the whole session we request you to be on mute. Our questions regarding basis which we will be choosing the winners would be, you would be asked to share your experience of this workshop. What are you taking back from the workshop, because there are going to be a lot of learnings. And secondly, we would also want to know from you after the session is done, what would be the next topic that you would want to cover, want us to cover from the Beauty Inside Out perspective, because here we talk of beauty from a very different perspective. It is about you as a whole, everything that impacts you, and how you create your beauty from inside out, considering you as a whole, is what we are going to cover in the session. We will be having 3 lucky winners who will have a chance to win my book and one of our ancient face wash. This is one product which is coming from ancient Japanese culture. It's a very 1200-year-old ancient formulation which we have tried to pick up and just replicate the way it used to be, was used by the ancient Japanese women in their times when cosmetic industry wasn't there. So this is about the giveaway. I will take another 2 to 3 minutes. We'll see if anybody is joining, then we'll start the session. In the meantime, I would request you all to just grab hold of your pen and paper for the notes. So I'll be starting the session in another 2 minutes. Yeah. Okay, so I guess we can at least start with the introduction of what we are as a brand and what we are trying to do in the beauty industry. So starting from the very basic beginnings, our brand name is Swarasya, and Swarasya means your own essence. So it means Swar means myself, and Rasya means my own essence. Can we have the next slide, please? No, the Swarasya one. Yeah. Okay. So Swarasya means my own essence, which means what do you do to yourself? What, how do you live your life? How do you treat yourself over years ultimately decides what kind of beauty you would be after a certain age. Because when we are young, of course, we have all that energy to look and feel the best. It is only when we hit our late 30s and 40s is where we start to see a lot of skin and health, skin, weight and hair issues starting to happen to us. Why does that happen? We will be talking of all that, but the whole idea is the initial takeaway for you from this session is going to be, it is basically how much you preserve your own essence, which you have which you have been blessed with, and how much you kind of keep yourself intact in terms of body functionality, in terms of taking care of your own self, in terms of investing time in right good things, which ultimately will manifest into that ageless beauty, where we see a lot of people are really are very attractive, ageless, skin is just glowing even if so age doesn't show on them. So what is that different thing that they're doing where their beauty shines apart from the others who start to have all these skin health issues and skin issues and weight issues? Why I'm using the word health? Because health is very closely related to how you look and feel. Okay, so we are India's first brand where we are skincare brand, of course, but we are skincare and self-care brand. Why? So we generally focus on the word self-care because it is self-care that gives you that ageless beauty and that everlasting ageless persona. It is not only skincare; it is combined effort of yourself with yourself over years that preserves you to have that kind of a look and feel that you would want to for a longer time. We are also India's first ancient beauty education brand, and this is our first introductory webinar. We will be conducting a lot of other webinars on various different concepts. We have something called the concept of 5 dimensions, and we will keep delving deeper into these 5 dimensions as we keep planning our further webinars. Okay, so just to give you an idea, we call beauty, or we understand beauty from a very deep rooted perspective. That deep rooted perspective is a layered perspective. So physically what we see on top of ourselves is our physical self. Then if you get it deeper into yogic philosophy or yogic knowledge, you are taught that we are not just physical beings. What we see on ourselves is not what we are. It's basically a culmination of our physical self, our emotional self, our mental self, and also our spiritual self. And when I say specifically spiritual here does not mean religion. Spiritual means how closely are you connected with the nature, so that you're living life in coordination with the nature. So we have given this term as pranic beauty because that's where it's the deepest level where your beauty actually starts to emerge from over years. And it's not a one-day process, it's not a quick fix, it's something that you keep working on yourself over years. You adopt a certain kind of a lifestyle, you spend time with yourself, and that's where you keep building on to kind of maintaining that clean state of the body inside, that movement inside, and that's what shows as beauty over years. So we have termed this as pranic beauty, and this is an ancient concept. What we talk of here are the concepts that we've picked up from the oldest ancient cultures of the world. Since I'm educated into global ancient cultures of the world, the whole idea was whatever I have learned all these years, what I realized over years was, considering today's times, we are just looking for that one single product that can just, help me get rid of my under eye dark circles, or help me get rid of my acne, or whatever skin or beauty concerns do we have. But does it actually work like that? No, it doesn't work like that. It's if you look into Ayurveda or traditional Chinese medicine, macrobiotics, or yogic philosophy, which are the most ancient philosophies of the world, which have always talked of your alignment or your sync with the nature. They have always focused on you as a whole, where if it is about foods, what kind of foods are you consuming, what time are you consuming them, how are you cooking them, everything comes into place when we talk of kind of taking care of ourselves from the inside out. So we've culminated this concept of pranic beauty by taking or picking up these deep rooted concepts from these 4 oldest ancient cultures of the world, and come up with a concept and a philosophy where we have divided concepts from these cultures into 5 dimensions, which of course we will be talking of later in the session today. These 5 dimensions talk about everything. They talk about foods, they talk about your body, they talk about your emotions, they talk about your own connect with yourself and your connect with the nature. So everything comes together, and these are the concepts which all these ancient cultures have always talked about. So from the brand perspective, we have a strong focus on community and creating awareness, because we know what kind, the kind of awareness that we are trying to create in the beauty industry is something which is very new. Maybe a lot of you will get to know a lot of deeper aspects of beauty which you may not be aware of till now. So everything manifests into beauty, whether it be a physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual angle, and we will be talking of all these concepts. What happens is when you work on yourself as a whole on all these 4 parameters, a different kind of synergy happens inside your body, a different kind of harmony happens inside your body. That harmony keeps at a very deep rooted level, keeps your energy levels really up. So when your energy levels are up, of course, that you are just vibrant and radiant. So if I have to give you a very close example for this, just look at a newborn baby or somebody in their teens, how energetic and beautiful they look. It's that bubbling energy from the inside. How is it happening? That bubbling energy is happening because their organ functioning is completely intact. There is very less toxicity. The body is very vibrant on that energetic aspect, which of course we will be talking of. Then we have a strong focus from the beauty perspective, and as a brand, we have a strong focus on foods. Of course, we do offer a lot of natural, ancient kind of skincare products. This is where we started with, but gradually we've moved on into coming from our own understanding. We understood beauty, of course, is not something that just happens by applying something or going for a spa treatment or going for a beauty treatment. That's a very superficial physical or the skin level beauty, but your skin actually happens from inside. If when supposedly you get a bruise or something, it's your own skin that heals from the within. It's not something that you're applying on the outside that heals it. So it's a very deep rooted concept which takes into consideration everything, starting from your foods to your body functioning to your lifestyle to ancient practices. I will be giving you some good pointers on these ancient practices. The kind of foods, of course, that you're consuming, the way you're cooking them. Along with it, you are also bringing about certain herbs which specific to your own health conditions or your the imbalances that you have inside the body. That's where herbs play a significant role, because these are super powerful in terms of providing your body with that kind of a nutrition which maybe tons of food cannot give you. So that's where the role of herbs comes into the picture. Then we have focus on emotions, your thoughts, consciousness. So taking you as a whole holistically, which makes you not just look good but feel good also. So your beauty is not just about what you see on the outside, it's basically also about how you feel from the inside. So if just to give you an example, if you come across somebody who somebody who's very sad, very beautiful, very attractive features, but has a tendency of being very sad, and on the other hand you come across somebody who doesn't have that kind of what we call as attractive features, but have certain kind of magnetism to them. You feel attracted to these people. You don't know why, but you just feel attracted to these people. Why is it so? Because it's that feel good factor, what is happening within them, not just at the body functionality level, but what their mind is going through, that completely reflects on the outside as your aura or as your radiance or shine, or you coming across as a very magnetic kind of a personality. Apart from that, at Swarasya, we offer you skincare products. So we are gradually getting into self-care products as well, because now we understand beauty is not just about everything coming together. So we are just trying to bring on board most authentic kind of products into the skincare, self-care, even foods category, of course, later. Then we offer services. We have a lot of information for you. We offer you tools, tips, education programs. This is what we are working towards. You can just look at our website to know more about us. Our new website gets released in another week's time, where you will be getting all this information that I'm talking about, where the entire concept comes together, where we talk of everything when it comes to beauty. And we have organized all this valuable information coming from all these ancient cultures as a very easily implementable 5-dimensional beauty philosophy. We will be doing, as I said, we will be doing a lot of educational workshops, programs, and webinars to create more awareness around all these concepts. But the whole idea is to first create awareness that you know, we start to get out of that limited mindset that beauty is just about one product miracle. It's not that. Even though we are a skincare brand, still we tell you it's skincare is 20 or 30% part of your entire you know, appearance. It's just 20 or 30%, and it is important. That 20-30% is also important. Basis what kind of skincare products are you using? I will be talking of that later in the session today. Can we have the next slide, please? Okay, so let's just try to understand what is happening in the beauty scenario today. I guess somebody is on mute. Can I just request you to go on mute, please? Okay, so what is happening in these times today is whether it be skin issues, hair issues, or weight issues, when it is about any skin issue, if it is about acne, it is about wrinkles, it is about aging skin, it is about pigmentation, the very first instinct that we have is about you know, looking for some skin treatment, or looking for some solution which is more of chemical based, which can quickly give us some results. If it is more about aging, we are seeing a lot of people are getting gradually into getting these you know, chemical treatments done for fading of wrinkles, something like a Botox, or some surgeries, correction of their features, and everything is happening these days in the beauty sector, right? And and people who are a little aware about how they should be you know, conducting themselves to preserve themselves are into fitness. So people know, okay, when you are into fitness, of course your biological age definitely drops. So somebody who's a little more aware will be definitely too much into exercising and fitness. So this is also, we've seen in our practice that this is all what we know about beauty in today's time. Either it is beauty treatments, or it is some occasional spa treatments, or a salon treatment, or better still, if we want to achieve this beauty aspect naturally, we would be in some kind of fitness, which is good, which is very good. But if you are overdoing it, it is adversely impacting your beauty. And this is what I will be talking about in the session now. So can we have the next slide, please? Okay, so I would just want to first create your awareness about what the ancient traditions of Ayurveda, traditional Chinese medicine, macrobiotics, and yogic sciences know and have talked about beauty ever since the evolution happened. So as per Ayurveda, the definition of beauty is a mind, body, rituals, food combinations, energy phenomena. So if you're really looking to enhance your appearance, everything comes together. You cannot say that I got this best treatment done for myself, which was all natural, which was you know, which was the ingredients were something which are like very rare and coming from this part of the world, whatever. All of we do have all these solutions available. But is that all? Ayurveda does not agree to it. Ayurveda says it's your state of the body, what you do to yourself. It's your state of your mind, how you conduct yourself. It is daily rituals or practices, or your self-discipline with yourself. It's your food and food combinations and cooking styles, and the way you consume foods, and also of course your energetic aspect, which is you know, this is a little subtle aspect, not very easy to understand. It took me years to understand what this concept is all about. But at a very subtle level, it's something like the difference between being alive and just being living. So somebody who's like a newborn baby, okay, all full of energy, somebody in their teens, all full of energy, and somebody who's depressed, who's low, is living, but misses onto that live energy, that liveliness, that life force. So it is that subtle energy that keeps moving inside the body, and keeps, you know, keeps fueling you with that vitality and that beauty from the inside. So basis this concept, Ayurveda has broken the concept of beauty in three, rather has defined beauty in from three perspectives. One is Rupam, the other one is Gunam, and the third one is Vayastya. Rupam, that's the outer beauty. So we are still stuck to this this concept of beauty from more from the Rupam perspective, rather I would say, because our entire focus is on just you know, just enhancing our appearance. You look at what number of salons are opening up, what number of spa treatments are opening up, what number of makeup studios are opening up. We are just trying to recreate ourselves from the outside, and if our appearance doesn't look good, we are just trying to mask it with applying certain things on the face, or just trying to hide what shows on the outside, to superficially look good. That's not what the beauty is, because there are two different levels also to deeper beauty. Gunam is the inner beauty. So when I say inner beauty, it is something like your behavior, your attitude. So this is where, when I talked of this concept, where why is it that some people just come to you, you just feel attracted to some people. Somebody who talks to you very nicely, who has a very empathetic kind of an attitude towards yourself, or who's always smiling and happy irrespective of whatever comes, you get attracted to that person. And similarly, somebody who has a very angry kind of a disposition, who's a very sad kind of a personality, even if they have the best features, or they have, look and feel wise, they are the best, but you don't feel attracted to them. So this is what the quality of inner beauty is. Inner beauty is that comes from within, that shines through as a very subtle aspect of you, with the characteristics or features of you being a warm personality, you being a very kind-hearted kind of a personality, and somebody who's just very vibrant and just lives by how life comes, not getting entangled into these the daily course of life, and just getting upset by every small little thing coming your way. And the third one is everlasting beauty. Now this is something very deep rooted, but everlasting beauty is something, is very simply, if I have to explain you, it's something like somebody in their 50s or 60s, but still looking 20 or 30 years younger than their age. Did that happen to them in 1 day or 2 day or 10 days? No. They have lived that kind of a lifestyle where they managed to take care of themselves every single day, which culminated into this kind of a beauty, which is an everlasting beauty. Why? Because they have preserved their internal functionality, they have preserved the functioning of their organs, they have preserved the toxic levels inside the body, they have worked on their inner selves to kind of come across as a very happy and joyous kind of a personality, irrespective of what situations arise in your life at whatever age. So this is where, when we say that beauty is just a number, this is where we are talking from the Ayurvedic perspective, from the beauty which refers to this property of Vayasthyag, which is about everything who you are in the holistic sense. So when we talk of these 5 dimensions, ultimately this is what we are trying to educate you on, that if you want to be an everlasting kind of a beauty, you need to kind of prioritize or live your life in a certain way, where you pick and choose time for yourself for all these 5 dimensions that we are going to talk about today. So can we have the next slide, please? Okay, so that was the Ayurveda's perspective of beauty. Now, traditional Chinese medicine, just to give you some idea on what this modality is all about. Traditional Chinese medicine is something like Ayurveda of Japan and China. It is like Ayurveda happened in India. There was another life science, or you can call it ancient medical system, or you can call it something that emerged in ancient times in the land of Japan or China, when either there was no cosmetic industry, or when there was no medical industry, when people were really more close to the nature, and that's why they observed certain patterns of the nature. Looking at these patterns, they documented certain things. Like, for example, they realized that when they wake up early in the morning and when they go to bed early at night, they realize that energy levels are way better as compared to they waking up late and going off to bed late. So they documented that. So that's how they kind of interpreted the laws of the nature, and that this is what is documented even in Ayurveda. Even Ayurveda came up like that. It was observing the nature, what is happening to human beings from body perspective, from mind perspective, and from thought perspective, emotion perspective. When you live a certain kind of a lifestyle, and when you drift away from it, what happens to you? Ultimately, what happens to you could be a diseased state, and this disease state, from the inside, you may not feel it. Like, when some disease happens to you, even if it is a skin concern, also if it is continuous acne that you're experiencing over years, or continuous constant aging if you're experiencing over years, it did not happen in a day. Something went wrong inside the body, because you were not born wrinkled, right? You were born really fresh and vibrant, but what happened during those middle years or initial years that made you age so faster, that your skin starts to look aged, or your weight starts to just fluctuate, your hair starts to go off. So it's basically a very deep rooted science, where you actually understand how nature has a great role to play, whether it be foods coming from the nature, or your practices aligned with the nature, or your breath work and exercising done with respect to keeping in mind how my own nature allows me to do that. Like for example, a lot of people would get into exercising without realizing that they're just over burning their energies rather than gaining energy. So that kind of a connect is missing, which is a part of one of our dimensions, which I will be talking of later. So coming back to traditional Chinese medicine, it is again a very ancient modality, and macrobiotics is coming out of traditional Chinese medicine. So macrobiotics is precisely a food modality, which is understanding of foods from the perspective of energy. Like in modern science, we understand foods from the perspective of calorie counts and counting our carbohydrates, proteins, fats, basis which we kind of fill our bodies with counted nutrition, rather, I would say. In macrobiotics, we don't look at the body like that. We look at your body and the foods from the energy perspective. What kind of energy you are, what kind of energy specific foods have, and then we try to map your energies with the food energies. That's where your inner energy starts to become really vital, and that is what starts to show as vibrance, radiance, anti-aging, you call it, whatever you call it, but it shows on you as a whole, your skin, your hair, your weight, everywhere it shows. So traditional Chinese medicine, the concept of beauty in traditional Chinese medicine is about balancing the the two extremities. Like for example, we have like it is summertime going on, right? So we do not realize that if we feel hot, we would just grab anything which is very cold or icy, and we constantly keep doing that. And similarly, when it is winters, we have a natural inclination towards having more hot or warm foods rather than having these cold foods. So what changed? Like, we are the same, but during one specific season we crave more for warm foods, and during another specific season we crave more for very cold, chilly kind of foods. Are we maintaining the balance? Which means if it is very heated inside, like outside, the kind of weather we're experiencing right now, are we going ahead with something like a moderately cold kind of a food, or are we full day binging on something icy? So that is where we are disturbing the balance. The balance is, if it is too cold or if it is too hot, where do we how do we maintain the balance? We come closer to the center point, which means if it is hot, then we don't go with very hot foods or very hot way of life. We go with a moderately warm way of life. And on the other side, if it is a very cool, icy kind of environment, then we as our own choice, as our own self connect with ourselves, we do have the choices, right? But what we choose to do is what makes a difference. So when we choose not to go on the other extreme of choosing from the foods which are very extreme on the other side, and we stay in the center, is where we are trying to maintain the balance. So the idea of beauty from the TCM perspective is about maintaining that center point, that balance, where irrespective of whatever choices you have, you being a conscious person, choose not to go on to the extremes to try to maintain your balance as much as you can. This is what leads to everlasting beauty. And the other concept is your life force, chi, which is again the energy part that we're talking about. But again, not very easy to understand. It takes a lot of ancient kind of a knowledge to understand what this concept is all about. But very broadly, if I have to explain you, science looks at us from the perspective of these broken pieces. Like, we have hands, we have fingers, we have face, we have on the outside body, right? And internally we have these organs, we have heart, we have liver, we have kidneys, various different organs working within us. So we have a specialist for each part of the body. There would be a lung specialist, there would be a skin specialist, there would be a hair specialist. All different kinds of specialists are there. But are we just lungs, or are we just kidneys, or are we just heart? No, we are everything, but we are just creating that imbalance by focusing on one specific area. Of course, it is much required, I'm not denying that, because when you create that imbalance in specific organ or part of the body, you need that special treatment to bring it back to balance. But this idea of life forces, what moves within the body. So very at a very base layman language, if you have to understand energy, just imagine that there's a flower, and that flower is just stagnant. There is no wind or air in the environment, and suddenly some air starts to blow. As the air starts to blow, you see that flower is moving, right? Can you see that air which moved the flower? You cannot, but you can see the impact of air on the flower. Similarly, this is what our chi or energy or life force is. We cannot see how the energy is impacting us, but this energy is keeping us going, keeping us alive. This is what which is fueling us from inside, our cells to keep working deeply from the inside, our tissues to function properly, our the internal forces. Like for example, when digestion happens, why is it that even if you get into a headstand, for example, why is it that the food does not come outside? Ideally it should, because it's anti-force. It does not. What takes care of that food which should not come out? So of course, at the physical level, we do have certain body organs which are taking care of that. What is fueling those organs which are taking care of that is your life force, is your energy. It will ensure that if the food has to go down, come whatever, the food should not come up, because that is anti our functioning. So body always supports the functioning the way it should be, and that is fueled at the back from the life force. So this is the TCM perspective of beauty. Again, so TCM is about everything, about lifestyle, about how you think, about like Ayurveda is, it is about everything. It talks about everything you as a whole, whereas macrobiotics talks just about foods from the perspective of creating balance within you. Like I will be talking of these concepts a little later, but very broadly, from the macrobiotic perspective, two concepts are very important to bring about these transformational changes within you, whether it be your skin, weight, or hair. Your body state should be alkaline. That is where it's free flowing. That is where your energy is free flowing at its peak level, and that is where you develop something called pure blood quality. Whatever you look and feel, the kind of skin condition you have, or the kind of hair condition you have, or the kind of weight you carry, is highly dependent upon what your blood is carrying and supplying to your cells, because energy is produced in these cells. So if your blood quality is pure, that pure nutrition and pure oxygen is being supplied to your cell. These cells, when they get the purest of what they need, is where they make you vibrant from inside out, and you just just being very vibrant, come across as a very attractive kind of a personality that we've been talking about. So this is precisely what the TCM and macrobiotic idea of beauty is. Can we have next slide, please? Okay, so this is one of my favorite topics, because I did study all three modalities. Of course, every modality has its own very beautiful concepts around all these you as a whole, rather than just breaking you from the liver perspective or a kidney perspective or a skin perspective. But the modality that really has taken me over is yoga. I mean, it's not just about asana. It's a very big misconception that we do practice certain kind of asanas, maybe 10 minutes, and that's how we take it, right? Just practice 10 minutes. Somebody tells us, okay, just be mechanical, 1 hour, just keep going and going and going without being connected with yourself. Yoga is a very different modality when you start to understand it from a philosophical perspective, but that's altogether a different topic. But from the yogic perspective, the idea of beauty is, it's a phenomenon of free flowing energy inside the body. Now you might get a little deeper into understanding what this energy that we're talking about is. It's when you, any one of you, if anyone of you practices yoga by any chance, you must have realized, you're always told that synchronize your breath with your body movements. It's not just about movement inside the body. And this is also what makes yoga different from all other kind of exercising modalities. Why? Because whenever you're getting into a posture, there's a specific, so if you're very mindful, and if you do yoga, just next time if you do it, just notice what is the length, breadth, and depth of your breath in a specific asana. Like somebody who's into this mountain pose, for example, if you look at the picture at the right, you will realize your breath is going very deep till your navel, and that's why they tell you to focus on navel also. It's not just about what you see and what your angle of hands and feet are. It's basically what kind of life force are you pushing inside the body through your breath. So life force enters your body through the breath. If one small tip I have to give you about beauty, and if you get crazy about your foods when it comes to beauty, the biggest tool to generate your beauty, everlasting beauty, is your breath. The more you can focus on your breath, the more ageless you become. So it's and this is coming from the yogic philosophy, and that's why I guess this is one of my favorites, because this actually talks of the very depths of how mind body function, along with that movement of energy or life force that we're talking about. So basically, factors that regulate prana from the yogic perspective are movement and breath. Why I'm not using the word exercise, I could have definitely done that, but yoga is not exercise. It's basically movement of your body, flow of your body. Some days you just feel like just okay, a very small example. You've seen small babies like 8-month-old, 10-month-old babies just rolling on the bed wherever they want. They might be just sucking their toes, or they might be just their hands going somewhere, their legs going somewhere. What is that? That is movement. That's where they're fueled with life force. Why? Because they are just opening up each and every part of their body, and it's very intuitive to the kids. Like, as we grow, we lose that touch with ourselves, but you have a lot to learn with these babies and infants and small kids, because they're intuitively designed to be very natural and to be their best possible version by following certain practices, which they have control on, and movement is something that they have regular control on. And similarly, if you see an infant or a baby, the way they sleep, you see they sleep very peaceful. Like, when they're sleeping, you will see their tummy rising up. When they exhale, their tummy goes down. That is the kind of breath that we ought to have that everlasting kind of a beauty. And the live example we have in front of kids, how soft and smooth their skin feels, how shiny their hair feels, how they're just perfect. Like, they are not fat, they are not thin, they're just perfect. So for that perfected you, I would say movement and breath goes a long way. And what are the yogic tools to achieve that movement and breath? It's asana, which supports your that movement. And that movement, why we have so many yoga asanas and different kinds of postures in yoga asanas? Why? Because through yoga asanas, you're moving every direction. You are moving your fingers, you're moving your toes, and that's why these asanas are not about asanas. These are about what part of the body is getting moved when you get into a certain kind of a posture. That opens up your internal channels. When open up, let the at the physical level, let the oxygen and nutrition flow really easily, let prana flow easily, and that's where what culminates into that everlasting beauty that we're talking about. And we cannot underestimate the power of meditation. Why? Because your mind has a huge role to play when it comes to beauty. How? We will talk of it in the further slides. Next slide, please. Okay, so what is, as a brand, what is our philosophy of beauty? So we, as we said, of course, we do have a skincare brand, and we're doing a lot of natural ancient stuff, but we call ourselves as a self-care brand. We do have a self-care philosophy, because it is everything coming together, which creates your beauty. It is your inner beauty that fuels your inner assets. When I say inner assets, it's what I'm referring to is your organ functionality, how your lungs are functioning, how your digestive system is functioning, how your kidneys are functioning, how your heart is functioning, everything. What kind of pulses these organs are generating, basis which your skin, hair, nails, or body weight, everything reflects on your face. So there's a very deep-rooted beauty about traditional Chinese medicine. Whatever you see on your face indicates what is not right inside the body. So I'll give you an example. When some people come to us and ask us, okay, I have these under eye circles and under eye bags. Okay, from the beauty perspective, it looks as a very superficial outward kind of problem, and a lot of people face it. And we openly tell them, see, we are a skincare brand, of course, but we do not offer under eye cream. Why? Because we don't believe in it. Because under eye circles is something that is not happening on the outside. You have these small little capillaries just moving, which provide nutrition to your eyes, and these are very minute capillaries connecting your main blood vessels to your eyes. So these capillaries are something like branches of the trees. These capillaries, when there is no movement in your when there's a very stagnant movement in your eye area, these capillaries get clogged with stagnant blood, with old blood, with which is a very blackish kind of a blood. So what you see as dark circles is a reflection of that dark blood showing from the inside. So even if we want to create a under eye dark circle product, we would not do it, because we know it's useless. It is just a fad. Under eye dark circle cream is nothing. It is just a fad, because you really have to work on stimulating your eye area. How do you do that? Way better than using the skin an eye circle cream. It's better to practice some yogic eye practices. What that will do is that will stimulate your eye area. With that stimulation, you will start to flow that stagnant blood under your eyes. and it's not a one-day process. You really have to dedicate yourself, live a certain kind of a lifestyle, put a stop to wrong foods which may be causing that stagnation, making sure that your life force is good by focusing well on breathing. When you combine together all these factors, you see your the radiance on your face just starts to go to a different level. These under eye dark circles automatically start to go off. So these are the concepts which are coming from these ancient sciences, which in modern sense we just don't talk about when it comes to beauty. So and the ultimately what our philosophy is all about is you align your body and mind with the functioning of the nature and create balance. So when I say functioning of the nature, I'll be a little elaborate in further slides, but the whole idea is don't go overboard in anything. If there is one takeaway from the session, it is going to be don't go overboard in anything that you do. If you are doing exercise, go to a certain level. It should not be something like a mindless exercise, just for losing weight, maybe 2 hours, 3 hours, just continuously doing exercise. What you're doing is you're creating more free radicals, more damage to your cells. If the cells are damaged, what starts to show on your skin is pigmentation. It's falling of hair, because these free radicals are toxins. These toxins block your blood channels and energy channels. If the blood is not reaching your hair follicles, it starts to shed off. It's not getting its nutrition. So balance is the key, coming from the teachings of all these ancient cultures. And this is what our focus is, being a beauty and self-care brand. This is, and from the education perspective also, and that's why we've gotten into creating beauty education from the ancient concept perspective. Beauty is about balance. It is about balancing everything in your life. Of course, skincare is important. It's very important. Why? Because we're exposed to a lot of toxins. But what is the right kind of skincare that you need, along with various other factors coming together as a whole to give you that inside out kind of changes inside the body that ultimately over time start to show up in your skin health, in your hair health, in your overall persona as a person. Next slide, please. Okay, so we've talked of the philosophy that we're talking about. So basis our experience in last, I guess it's been 10 years since I've been into this and just studying different cultures and trying to come up, understand beauty. So the area that I chose for my study was the beauty area, because I realized over time, and it's happened with me also, it's not just with all of us, it's happened with me. And the whole idea was I really wanted to understand what is it that ages you, because there is a difference between two people, somebody who's very magnetic and very radiant even if they are in their 50s, and we come across a lot of such people in today's times, and somebody of the similar age may look 10 years ahead of their age. So what is it that makes a difference? So basis all those studies and understanding of these ancient concepts, we have come up with these this five-dimensional approach, which starts with foods. We call it nourish, then your body work. And body work, when I say body work, it is not just about exercise. There are 3 different dimensions to it. I will be talking of them also. How your emotions, I guess this is one of the area that we really need to get deeper into, because when we talk of beauty, emotions is something that we just do not consider at all. I mean, it's not even in our thoughts also. But how emotions, I'll be giving you some examples in the further slides, but emotions have a strong impact on your beauty. If by any chance you've come across any person who's really low and depressed for a certain time, for example, you will see they don't look at their best capacity, even if they're very beautiful, if they have very their features are really good, and but something is missing in them, some attraction is missing in them. The skin starts to kind of sag very quickly, hair starts to fall off, weight starts to just go up. What is it that is working behind your emotion that gives you all those conditions? I will explain you all that. Then we have self-realization. Now this is again a very subtle kind of a concept. Self-realization is basically you call it mindfulness, you call it your own consciousness, whatever you call it, but this concept is coming from my studies in yoga. Self-realization is basically you have multiple choices. Like if we are living in today's times, we have ample, I'll take the example of skincare products only, since this is what our expertise is into. You see every other day a new brand is coming up. Somebody claims something, and there are all kinds of skincare products. Now you as a person, are you self-realized enough to put your mind and thought into thinking, one, if I use n number of skincare products, what is going to happen to me? Is my skin improving, or is it just a peace of mind that I'm getting? Or say, for example, you idolize living a specific kind of a lifestyle, and as a part of that lifestyle, you pick and choose a range of skincare or self-care products for yourself. which you may or may not be using, because I'm talking of this because this has in past happened to me also, and these are very practical examples that I've gone through myself. But did you ever give it a thought that what is it that is working for you? Even if it is a skincare product, does that rose mist work for me, or does that night cream work for me? I am, you know, looking for that best under eye dark circle cream, but you know, is it working for me, or am I just looking pillar to post, find that best brand that is giving me that that kind of a product? So self realization is basically your own connect with yourself, your own intuition, your own body telling you this is working for me, this is not working for me, this is how I feel. So the feeling factor is what the level of self realization is. And I cannot emphasize enough how powerful it is, because since the time I started connected with my connecting with myself, I could see huge changes happening to myself, because I got that power of choosing right when I started to, you know, when I got into that path of self realization. So, you know, it is always very important to question yourself, to ask yourself, what is it that's good for me, what is it that is not good for me, what is it that is working for me? Even if it is a fad, even if some media comes and tells you it is the best thing on earth, if somebody comes and tells you, there is no bigger truth than your own self. If your body tells you it is not for me, it is actually not for you, even if it is the best thing on earth, right? So, and the last dimension that we talk about is the energy, which we have spoken of to some part, but in detail I'll talk of the physical and emotional manifestations of energy that we're talking about. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is how we look at our foods today. So we will start with dimension 1, which is nourish. We all know, we've all heard, you know, you are what you eat, or you are what you eat. And going a little forward in the definition, you are what you eat, digest, and assimilate. So foods that you consume are, you know, get into your body, are not directly usable by your body. So even if it is the best food, if it is a blueberry, if it is a lemon, if it is an apple, or whatever, you know, best kind of food that you come across, is of no use to your body unless your body processes it, breaks it down into small components, and then picks and chooses what it needs from that specific food. Like, for example, from blueberries, if we take an example, from blueberries, your body will digest it, and it will extract a lot of antioxidants out of it. That blueberry as a whole is not working for you. A lot of you know, part of it which is unusable by the body will be thrown out by the body through your elimination channels. What it needs out of that food, it will extract, and it will mix it into your blood. Now this blood will circulate through the body, and it will get absorbed in your small intestine. um, Sorry, it is the other way around. Your small intestine absorbs all that nutrition, and then it mixes all that nutrition which it extracts from the foods into your blood. And the last stage is that blood is circulating throughout the body and passing on all that nutrition to different cells of the body. So if we have trillions of cells inside the body, we have our blood has a, you know, a direct connection, or a capillary connecting that cell to that blood flow to that cell, to be able to pass on that nutrition to that specific cell. And it is that health of that cell, that vibrancy of the cell, that ultimately decides whether you will get pigmentation, whether you will get acne, whether you will get you know, hair issues, weight issues, whatever. So everything is decided by your cell, and it is a very intricate process. Though it is decided by the cell, the process does not start at the cell level. It starts at the level where you choose to put anything in your mouth. If you choose to put pizzas or burgers, or any kind of refined processed foods which we come across these days, ultimately after that long process, it will manifest or transform itself into that cell. Now if the cell gets all that artificial stuff, its vibrancy is gone. It is not able to perform the way it has to perform. Ultimately, initially it will not make a difference. So a lot of teens binge onto a lot of wrong stuff, and we see that nothing happens to them. If somebody has genetically a tendency of looking good, they will look good in their 20s, even in their mid 30s. It is only when you get on to somewhere around your, you know, late 30s and 40s, that's where a different phase you're entering into. And specifically women, when we are entering into this perimenopause phase, where a lot of things are transforming, that's where immediately you see a hit. And that's where we see a lot of women, as soon as they get into this specific age, you automatically see immediately you had a very beautiful skin, and you don't realize what started to happen to my skin. My you know, diet is same, my lifestyle is same, my skincare is good, my self-care is good, still things are going wrong. Why? Because you have abused your body in last 20 years to reach a stage where in 40s, since the phase is changing, body is changing, ultimately it is not able to cope up with what it was able to cope up in your 20s. So, and this is if we look at how we look at our foods today from the nourish perspective, it is only two or three things that we are doing. We are following a calorie counted approach, and this is, I would say, 90% of what modern food industry is all about. We are following fads. Someday there's a protein diet, then we get some results, and then we don't get some results, the weight comes back, or we don't feel good, then we switch on to keto diet, or we want to try paleo, or whatever. There are n number of fad diets. And even at a very very common level that we have seen, protein craze is something that is with everybody. You talk to anybody, the first thing, if they play around with their diet, the first thing that they would want to know is, what about my protein? Will my protein be enough? Now, there is a very dark side to protein that nobody talks about. Protein is very highly acidic in nature. No, I'm not saying it is not important, it is very important. But what form of protein are you using? How you are cooking it? How you are consuming it? Are you consuming it at the right time? Are you consuming the right kind of proteins? Is what will ensure that the leftover of protein is minimum inside the body. Because protein in its raw form, whatever protein it is, it will leave its leftover. It is something like a difference between, in our body there's something called Agni, which is the concept of Ayurveda, which means metabolism. So modern science calls it metabolism, Ayurveda calls it Agni. So Agni burns our food, or metabolism burns our food. When the burning happens, and this process is very exactly similar to how when you burn something outside, like when you burn wood or when you burn paper. When you burn wood, the leftover is like huge leftover, it's like huge pile of ash. When you burn paper, it is very small little pile of ash. It was burning only, right? But what was the ingredient which got burned, basis which that leftover remains? And that leftover is acidic, that leftover is toxin, that leftover is something that starts to block our channels. It's where you start to get all that aging factor, all that pigmentation, all that whatever concerns you have. And specifically in modern times, there is a series of new skin concerns that have started to come up: autoimmunity, eczema, psoriasis. These are all very overheated body conditions. Your body is really too high on a lot of toxicity and a lot of heating foods, like we talked of this balance concept earlier, right? So you are somewhere not in the balance, you're on the extreme. Even if you're consuming maybe the bestest of food, still you are off balance. So when you're off balance, that is where you start to experience all these changes. So protein, coming back to protein is good, much required for the body, but it should not be such a big hype that we've made it in today's times. Now what happens is, when your entire focus is either on calories, or if it is either on any specific kind of fat diet, or if it is on specific kind of protein diet, or protein angle, ultimately the impact on the right side, if you see, it's going to be, over time your body will start to become acidic. Initially it will not become. So if you are in your 20s or early 30s, you will not see the impact. You will do very good with that kind of a protein or that kind of calorie approach. As you age, you see calorie diets do not work for a lot of people, specifically after a certain age. That their capability of losing weight goes really low. Even if something worked for them in their 20s or 30s, is not still working for them in their 40s. Why? Because body is changing, we're not realizing it. We are still sticking to that narrow-minded thought process where we are still counting the calories, but body has changed internally. So it's causing a lot of acidic load on the body. Secondly, it is causing mineral loss inside the body. It is causing a lot of nutritional deficiencies, because of course your protein intake is going well, but a lot of people will not talk of what it needs to for your body to process or to digest that protein. What is it that is required for your body to clean out the leftover of that protein? When the protein has gone inside the body, of course it worked to build your muscle, but protein 100% is not absorbed by your body. It will, as we said, digestion process will extract what it needs, and the leftover it will leave for your body to eliminate. If your body is not eliminating, why? Because it is deficient on certain nutrients. If it is not being moved right, if you're too high on proteins, ultimately that muscle gradually will start to break down. Why? Because you are, over time, you are carrying a lot of toxins inside the body. And ultimately, when this happens, this is where you start to experience weight issues, skin issues, hair issues. This is where you've actually gone to a stage where you've completely changed your entire chemical composition. Your hormones have changed. Your cell is deprived of that good nutrition or that good oxygen. The entire internal functioning is haywire, and it's reached to a certain level that now it's started to show up in your weight, skin, and hair. So that's how the entire food psychology goes. Now this is how we look at our foods today, how we should be looking at it. Next slide, please. Okay, so when we talk of beauty from the nourished dimension perspective, there is altogether a different approach of understanding. what foods do we consume, how do we consume it to create that beauty from inside. So when I say create beauty from inside, it is not a magic going on inside. It's basically your body is cleaner, your blood is purer, your cells are getting whatever it needs from the foods and from the lifestyle that you're living. And when that cell is happy, your skin is happy, your hair is happy, your weight is happy. If that cell is not happy, you do whatever, you do any kind of treatment, you do any kind of peels and spa treatments or whatever modern world has to offer to us, you will still keep aging. Why? Because it is not at the superficial level, it is happening at the very deep level, and at a level where we cannot even see what is happening, where it's at the microscopic level, where your beauty is being created with all that blood moving inside the body, with all that pure nutrition and oxygen to make it reach to your cells. So now if I relate this beauty dimension to how Ayurveda talks of beauty, we talked of this first dimension of beauty that Ayurveda talks about, which is rupam. Rupam is your outer beauty. So nourish is the dimension that supports your beauty from the outside. What kind of foods or concepts support your rupam or outer beauty from the nourish perspective is at the top is alkaline diet. When I say alkaline diet, it's something like, very simply, if I have to tell you, increase your quota of fruits and vegetables quite high. So if you are obsessed about proteins, I'm not saying leave proteins, definitely be with them, you know require it much more, but you need good amount of fruits and vegetables to be able to process the toxicity that those proteins are leaving inside your body. So alkaline diet, it's a very it's a very different deep rooted concept. I'll not get into it, but very quickly, what are you supposed to do to make your diet alkaline? Make sure that 50% of your diet is majorly based on fruits and vegetables in any form. Secondly, move on to whole foods. Refined foods, processed foods, something like ready-made foods that, quick fixes, or somebody comes and tells you it's a vegetable added quick oats that you can just make. Is it good for your beauty just because it is oats? It is not, because it is refined. So what do whole foods mean? Whole foods, something like whole grain, something like a brown rice, or rather brown rice. It's one of the topmost on the charts from the beauty food perspective. Just try switching to brown rice for a certain time and see how beautifully it starts to change a lot of your beauty parameters. So brown rice is one of those. Then you have millets, you have we have bajra in Indian scenario, then we have ragi, we have steel cut oats, all these foods, like, foods in their whole form. From the bean perspective, all kinds of beans like chickpeas, these rajma, lobia, whatever we have available from the spread, from the from the whole perspective, fruits, vegetables, seeds, nuts, beans, everything coming together to form your diet, rather than you banking on or sticking to these fads where somebody tells you, okay, this food has this much vitamin C, these many proteins, these many carbs, and you get into that fad considering that, okay, this is doing good to me. It's not. Why? Because it is that processed food is not coming only with that added nutrition which your body may or may not be able to absorb, because body works very differently from natural in synergy with the natural resources rather than artificial or chemical resources. So whole foods is again, top on the category. Probiotic rich foods, I guess in today's times I would put very strong focus on probiotic foods. In research now, it is being proven that in coming few years, skincare would be about probiotic rich foods. It is that powerful. So if you're looking for any kind of treatment for your acne, for your pigmentation, for your wrinkles, aging skin, weight, loss of hair, whatever your skin and hair concern is, probiotic food. So you have to feed your gut with good bacteria, which creates about these magnificent kind of nutrients as a leftover, which are superfoods for our body, which we cannot consume, or rather we don't get it from any kind of outside food. So even if we are going high on, say, fruits and vegetables or natural resources of foods, still if we are deprived of good gut bacteria, if probiotic foods are not probiotic bacteria is not a part of our ecosystem, gradually you will see the very first thing that will start to go off or get imbalanced is your gut. If your gut gets imbalanced, that is where 96% of your skin conditions, hair conditions, weight conditions happen, because your digestive system is not functioning right. And this is what Ayurveda says: 96% of your beauty, wellness or health conditions, lifestyle disorders, everything starts when your digestive system has any kind of flaw, whether it be gastric issues, whether it be bloating, whether it be belching, whatever digestion issues you have, if you want to fix your beauty, fix your gut is what I can tell you. Then food energetics, again, this is a very again a very deep rooted concept. I'll not get deeper into it, but this is something like if you remember our if at all you have this experience with your previous generations, they used to tell you that this food is very cold, don't consume it in this weather, or this food has a very heating tendency, don't consume it in summer times. Precisely, they were talking of food energy. Why? Because they could understand that if your body has a lot of heat and you're putting heat on top of heat by consuming foods which are adding on to that heat inside your body, then even if it is the best food, even if it is a very good food, if it is a very good spice, for your body it is becoming poison because you are adding heat on top of heat. Now, how does it show on your skin? Condition something like urticaria, condition something like rosacea, condition something like this red pus filled acne, is because your body is very heated, very high on heated conditions. So food energetics, which modern science just does not understand, talk about at all, is such an important concept of creating that beauty from inside from food perspective. And then coming lastly, food combinations. So some food combinations are just not meant to be together. Why? Because our body releases a lot of internal juices to digest our foods. These juices, some of them work in synergy, some of them are anti each other. So the more we sort out our foods in a way that our digestion gets sorted out, when I say digestion sort out, means the internal juices which are flowing are sorted out. Ultimately, your digestion is sorted. When your digestion is sorted is where your beauty begins with. So food combination, like for example, I say, okay, I make a smoothie in the morning, I add mango to my curd and I make a smoothie in the morning. Is that a good combination? That recipe may look very good. A lot of people may be talking about it, but from the food combination perspective, it is the worst disaster that you can do for your body. So, food combinations again is a very deep rooted concept. And when all these factors come together, they start to completely change your internal chemistry, your hormones change, your internal functionality change, your body becomes cleaner. So, and this concept is very different from how we look at foods from, or beauty from, beauty from foods from the modern perspective. And in this approach, we just do not consider calories. I mean, though I've educated, I'm a clinical nutritionist as well, but having studied all these ancient and modalities and being very aware that this does not work, I now do not work on the calorie approach at all. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is one takeaway for you. How do you start to bring about that change from the food perspective or nourish perspective in your lifestyle? This is a very basic recipe. Maybe you can just take a screenshot or make a note of it. And if you want a detailed recipe, you can just visit our website. You will, in the menu, you will come across this clean beauty detox recipe. You just click on that link. You will get a detailed recipe about that. I'll quickly talk of the benefits of what this does. When you start your day, so I would recommend, if you want to give it a try, start your day with the smoothie in the morning. Start your day with this. Don't get away from tea and any kind of refined stuff. When you start your day with the smoothie, this is very full of powerful cleansing agents. It's rich in chlorophyll. It raises your oxygenation level. It takes your energy levels to a different level. So, all these factors coming together when you consume that smoothie in the morning, it's a very big shift from making your body alkaline from an acidic state. So if you're a tea consumer in the morning, you are making your body acidic in the morning. If you're consuming smoothie in the morning, you're making body alkaline in the morning. And alkalinity is the root to that ageless beauty that we're talking about. Next slide, please. Okay, so talking of our beauty dimension 2, which is body work. How do we look at our body today? It's again, it's a very narrow-minded concept, the way we look at our beauty. It would be either getting a treatment done, it could be some chemical-based treatment done, or some fitness regime, something like overdoing a fitness regime. Though fitness regime is very important, but there should be some limit to what we do, how we do it, basis how we understand our body. Like for example, if I have a very heated kind of a body, like how do I know I have a heated kind of a body? You continuously get this acne breakouts, you have this problem of urticaria, or you have this problem of rosacea from the skin level perspective. And from the body perspective, if your digestion burns, if you feel some burning kind of a sensation in your upper digestive tract or in the middle of your center of your digestive tract, that is a clear sign that your body is very heated. Now, when you are heated and you opt for gymming, for say 1 hour or 2 hours, when you're continuously gymming and you're creating a lot of heat inside the body, what you're doing is you already have a lot of heat and you're generating more heat. You're on top of it, you're putting more heat. That will start to burn you. That is the wrong kind of exercise for you. That will not just, so that will build your body, of course, I'm not denying that, but ultimately as a whole it will start to wreak havoc on your skin over years. Will ultimately temporarily will give you all those muscles. These muscles will start to shed off because internally your body does not have lot of support to support those muscles. You are externally working on making it, and as soon as you leave your practice, because there is a limit to what human body can do. I mean, you can just continue with that 2 hour or 3 hour of gymming for 10 years or 15 years. Once you reach your 40s or 50s, that kind of a gymming is not for you. That's where you start to just, you know, your appearances start to degrade badly. So what kind of a balance do you maintain from your body work perspective? But this is what we are looking at, doing for your body, for our body in today's times. It's basically chemical treatments. If we want to bring about some change in our features, it's Botox treatments or shape changing treatments or things like that, and ultimately crazy fitness regimes that we are going ahead with. Next slide, please. Okay. From our beauty dimension perspective at Swarasya, how do we look at body work? We talk of body work not just from exercising perspective, but from 3 different dimensions, sub dimensions: self-care, skincare, and movement and flow. So how does this dimension resonate with how Ayurveda looks at beauty? This dimension also creates rupam, which is your outer beauty that we discussed when we talked of what beauty inside out from Ayurveda perspective means. So it creates your outer beauty, but with that outer beauty, when you merge your foods from those foundational perspective and body work from these three aspects, what you're doing is you are creating base for deeper level of beauty to start in, to start set in, or to start to flow freely inside the body. So we'll quickly talk of what 3 sub dimensions are. Next slide, please. Okay, so the first sub dimension of this body work is self-care. When I say self-care, now Ayurveda is very rich on these self-care practices. I mean, I think this is one aspect that I just love about Ayurveda. It is not about herbs. The herbology part of it comes really later in the picture. This is about how do you choose to live your life on a daily basis. What time do you get up? When you get up, what do you do? Do you spend time with yourself? Do you make sure that you spare some time for cleaning your senses? Do you clean your tongue? Do you clean your eyes? Do you do something for your nasal passage? So this might come as a surprise to you also. It came as a surprise to me as well. Our nose is the source of our life force. I mean, how do we take breath? We take it through our nose since the time we are born till the time we are there, right? So when you are breathing every single second, you cannot live without breathing for even a few minutes. And when nose is so important for us, we do not ever take care of our nose. We have mucus problems, we have sinus problems, we have all kinds of problems. We do not breathe right, but we do not ever think of taking care of our nose. Ayurveda has a very strong focus on senses. So Ayurveda says your eyes make your perception. Whatever you feel, you think, somewhere gets stimulated with your eyes. Whatever you listen to that makes you feel good is stimulated by your ears. Whatever you breathe in, whether it's a good fragrance or life force, you call it, whatever, that is going through your nose. Do you ever take care of your senses? We don't. We just hardly spend 10 minutes bathing and we are out, and then we're looking for those best foods on earth to improve our appearance, or looking for that best fitness regime to improve upon us. It doesn't work like that, because you really have to deeply work on all these aspects which connect your outer from the inside. Your senses connect your outer to the inside. So in Ayurveda, it is very important aspect of you and your self-care to follow certain practices and rituals. Some of the good ones quickly, so you can just Google and see the practices that I'm mentioning, but I'll quickly just name a few. For your eyes, it's from the yogic perspective, it is something called a practice called Trataka. Then you have from the Ayurveda perspective something called rather from yogic perspective another one, which is Jalneti. From Ayurveda perspective, for your eyes, it's going to be something like splashing your eyes with Trifla water in the morning and making it as a habit, not something like you just do it and get off it. Spending some 1 to 2 hours in the morning just working on your senses, you will start to see how beautifully your perception starts to change. Your entire your way of life starts to change just by focusing on your senses. Then for your nose, it's Jalneti. Sorry, I mentioned that in your eye care. It's not the eye care. Jalneti is your nose care, and it's very important. Why? Because your life force is entering your body through your breath, and the source of breath is our nose. Taking care of your body and weight and everything comes at a very later stage. You first need to focus on your senses, which connects, which is the barrier between outside and the inside. So Jalneti is a good practice. Nasyam, which is oiling in your nose, is a very good practice. For your ears, soothing music like mantra music, it's food for your ears. So playing some good mantra music in the morning really sets you for the day. So these are some practices coming from Ayurveda and yogic philosophy, which talk of you as a lifestyle and your beauty as a coming together, as you taking care of yourself from not just from your weight perspective. It's not just about weight. It's about everything who you are, and small little areas which we do not even ever focus on. Next slide, please. Okay, the next dimension, sub-dimension of body work that we have defined in Swarasya is skincare. Now, how skincare impacts your beauty, I guess we all are quite aware of skincare these days. But quickly, I would just want to focus on one specific aspect. If you are, after the session, maybe whatever skincare products you're using, I would highly recommend just go and read their labels. If you come across any terms like parabens, sulfates, SLS, or any kind of technical term which sounds like a chemical, okay, you will get that sense. Or at all, if you do not understand that term, just Google. So for the ingredients that you see on the labels of your skincare, just Google each and every ingredient and just try to find out the side effect of that ingredient. Whatever the brand is telling you, this kind of ingredient is okay because it is tested, because it is this certified and that certified, that's okay, I mean, to a certain level. But be your own detectives to find out what are these small little chemicals coming from everywhere that are invading you of your inner integrity, I would say. So some of the active and what do you call these chemicals in skincare that you will find would be something called SLS, parabens, sulfates, petroleum, like Vaseline, for example. Okay, these are poisons for the skin. Why? Of course, if they're giving you results, if you like them, of course, I'm not saying they will not give you results. They may or may not give you results. What is happening at the deeper level is these are hormone mimicking. So what you apply on the skin will ultimately get absorbed through your skin and will mix into your bloodstream. And you remember we talked of the bloodstream. If it is pure, that purity is being passed to your cells. That's where your beauty is emerging from. So even if you're eating the best, but from the outside, if you're applying certain ingredients or chemicals or products, which even if you're eating clean are making you unclean by absorbing those chemicals through your skincare products or application products, are making your blood toxic. Worst still that they're doing, and this is what is happening to a lot of young girls specifically, and it came as a surprise to me also when I was into my education days. A 16-year-old is exposed to 165 different chemicals on a daily basis, just coming through daily skincare products. It's like a face wash or hand cleaning products, or a perfume or a deodorant or a makeup thing, if at all, youngsters, if they are into it. So 165 different chemicals poisoning your blood, even if you are consuming the best quality foods. So you are getting your poisons, if not from foods, through the chemicals that your skin is absorbing. Now, what these chemicals do to your body? They have this property of creating something called xenoestrogens. Xenoestrogens is basically chemical estrogens which mimic the activity of female estrogen inside the body, and this estrogen is responsible for weight gain, for sagging body, for a lot of acne on the face. From the beauty and skincare perspective, and over years, if it is not taken control of, ultimately it manifests into breast cancer. It manifests into a lot of starting from the inside, it sets in deeper into a lot of other health conditions. So it is very important that the kind of skincare products that you use are very clean in nature, which do not have all these most damaging hormone mimicking chemicals, which will completely change so we do not even realize these hormone. It may be my best best product that I'm using, or I just love that product, but I don't even know when it gets into my body, it is completely changing my hormones. It's completely changing the functioning of the body. I am gymming, I am eating best food, still my body is not functioning well, or it's deteriorating by the day. If that is happening to you, just please look into the kind of products that you're using. So, okay, what are the right kind of products that you should be investing into? Ayurveda says anything which is botanically powerful, which has some botanical ingredients and comes together as a part of botanical ingredients coming together, is the right kind of skincare for you. What it will do is, at the very bare minimum level, it will maintain your pH balance and it will maintain the skin barrier. And at the deeper level, it will not pollute your body, which is the biggest concern which is happening with the exposure of chemicals that we are getting through different sources in our range. So this is where we started actually Swarasya from. When we started our brand, the whole idea was to launch a very clean skincare kind of a product, and the kind of products that we chose to manufacture were something to recreate the products which did not, which existed when the cosmetic industry wasn't there. So a lot of our skincare products that we have kind of created are coming from, say, maybe cultures from 100-year-old back traditions, or even one of the products that we have a giveaway today, which is Kiyomiru. It has a history of 1200-year-old year-old existence. So it is coming from from Oriental culture, when these ancient Oriental queens used to use this formulation a certain way to beautify their skin. So made from a very typical kind of a bean, which is again a Japanese bean. So these kind of formulations we are just trying to revive back to create, not just awareness, but also offer you the resources where you can actually learn to go clean. So I'll not talk much about it. You can just look at our website if you want to know more about this. Next slide, please. Okay, so the third sub-dimension of body work is movement and flow. Movement and flow, as I talked about earlier, it is not just about exercise. What does movement and flow mean for your body? So very simply, if you look at yoga, if you look at gymming is all about building muscle. It is about one specific kind of a movement. Like when you're moving a muscle, you're just moving in one form. Like if you're working on a treadmill, you just keep walking and walking and walking. Or if you're building your muscle, you're just lifting weight, lifting. It's all about that. Contrary to that, if you look at yoga, it is about movement everywhere. Maybe you're not lifting yourself initially because it takes time to build that strength, but you are moving up, down, left, right, your body parts going in directions which you cannot even think of. What is it that doing? When it's something like wringing of a cloth. So just imagine you have a wet cloth, and that wet, if you have to drain out water out of that cloth, what you will do, you will wring that cloth, right? So what that wringing will do, it will stimulate, or it will just compress everything inside to take out the liquids which that cloth is holding. Very simply, from the beauty and detoxification perspective, this is what yoga is doing. And that's why yoga is any day my first preference. Even so, a lot of people want to choose a lot of different exercising modalities, and completely okay. I mean, what resonates to you. But what I have practiced, experienced, and learned over years, and what brought changes to me over years, was this ringing activity, doing yoga from all perspectives. Like if I have to ring my wrist, I will do certain practices that help me go anti-force for my wrist. If I have to, kind of open the channels for my neck, I will do certain postures which will just, go anti the natural flow of my neck. And that's how you go beyond your boundaries in terms of moving your body. So precisely what movement and flow will do to your body, it will detoxify your body, it will stimulate your organs, it will create compression inside the body. Because of that compression, whatever toxins you're holding will be compressed, something like a wringing towel, and will start to kind of break inside the body and start to get pushed out of the body. That's where internal channels are getting freed up. That is where your prana is flowing freely. That is where your blood is circulating very openly and freely to all parts of the body and to the cells. And that's where you are at the very deepest level of the pranic level. You're creating your beauty from inside. So it opens up the pranic channels, it oxygenates your body. Oxygenation, as I told you, breathing is the very first foremost tool for your beauty. If you are a fitness freak, if you are a foodie, keep those priorities secondary, invest in breathing. That will go a long way in making you ageless. And then the last one is it soothes your mind. I will talk in the next slide how mind makes a difference to your beauty. Next slide, please. Okay, so the third dimension at Swarasya for beauty is emotions. Emotions from the Ayurveda perspective, how does it resonate with our beauty? Emotions creates the second and third layer of beauty that we talked of. What the definition of beauty from the Ayurveda perspective is, it's gunam and it's vayasyag. So gunam is your inner beauty. So just to give you an example, just imagine yourself, like this is a very practical scenario, all of us face this. When you are happy, you glow from the inside automatically. Even if you did not had the bestest of food, still there is something very attractive and radiant about you when you are happy. Or if okay, so happiness may be a one-time instance for you, just imagine somebody in your circle who is a very happy person, very happy-go-lucky person, who does not stress much about things, who doesn't, anger does not touch that person at all. That person is very joyous and, you know, just keeps flowing with the flow, doesn't take much of tension, and just is happy. You will see a different kind of attraction for that person. And this person most often, most probably, will have a very you know, luminous kind of a skin, radiant kind of a skin. This is the kind of beauty that is getting fueled from within. This, and this angle you cannot see. You cannot see emotions, you cannot see the gunam perspective or the inner layer, or you cannot see the everlasting aspect of beauty. But how you can realize it is by sensing that something is exceptional about this person. What is it exceptional that this person carries? Is at the inner level, this person is a very positive, cheerful, happy, joyous kind of a person, and has a very balanced kind of emotions, which is creating balance at the nervous system level. This is a deeper concept. I'll talk of it when we come to energy. But as of now, just try to grasp the concept that if you're a happy person, if you are a very happy-go-lucky kind of a personality, you don't take tensions too much, or you have learned how to deal with your stress. You have taken control of your aging. Nothing ages you more than stress. So, okay, the concept that I'm talking of here is, I guess it's here only. This is a small concept. I would really want you all to understand this concept, because this is a small difference that bridges the gap between your mind and how you look on the outside. So, autonomous nervous system creates hormonal imbalances. How does that happen? We have in our body, you know, our nervous system is the communication mechanism inside the body, right? So it passes on all those signals from our senses to the organs. What are the organs supposed to do? Do we have control on our digestion? How much time the food that I have consumed will take to digest? Do I have a control on that? I do not have it. If I'm breathing, okay, from the breathing perspective, still I have certain control, because I have control on ensuring that how, at what depth am I breathing. But do I have a control? Do I have a control on my liver? Can I tell my liver, I have today consumed this much of a toxicity from my foods, or I did apply my best product on the skin which had these many chemicals? Now I direct you to just clean me. Can you do that? You cannot do that. Your body works on, or at something called you know, central nervous system, part of which is autonomous nervous system, which works on its own, which is us. I would also say which is beyond our senses, like whatever we see, hear, you know, smell, this is beyond that. We just cannot do anything about it. But we can support this system through our practices, through our daily activities, through our lifestyle, to make certain balances inside the body. How does this work? Supposedly you are a very stressed kind of a personality, okay, stress kind of a personality, or and it could be any kind of stress. I'm not saying it is a professional stress, it is a personal stress, it is a family stress, it is education stress, whatever stress. Like all of us go through some specific kind of a stress. If you are a stressed person, for whatever reason, immediately your body shifts mode. And it is an autonomic activity. We do not even realize it is happening. What happens is, sorry, our body cannot let us live in a state of stress. So immediately, as body senses that, you know, we are in a state of stress, it immediately starts to bring about certain chemical changes inside our body to make sure that we come back to balance and get rid of stress as easy as possible. As a part of that activity, your autonomous nervous system, one part of which is sympathetic nervous system, will start to produce certain hormones and chemicals which are meant to deal with that specific stress that you have. Like, for example, if you if you have a snake in, you know, in front of you, like we all are sitting and listening to this session, but by any chance if you realize that, okay, you know, there's a snake sitting in front of you, what would be your first instinct? Your first instinct would be, let that session go to hell. The very first thing that I need to do is run away. Up till 5 minutes back, you did not had any instinct to run away. You did not have that energy. You were very peaceful and calm. What changed in those 5 minutes that made you run, or gave you that much of a rush of energy that you run? That is because your system sensed danger and your system was under stress, because of which your system created certain series of hormones. And these hormones, what they do is they shut down some important parts of your body from functioning well. Like if you are under a state of stress, sorry, your the very first system that will shut down is the digestive system. And you can relate to this if you are constantly in a state of stress, or anybody who has this constant tendency of being into lows or depressed. they do not have a very good digestion power. They always feel that gastric grumbling feeling inside the stomach, or very heaviness in the stomach. Why? Because you are eating, but because of stress, those chemicals are getting released, and these chemicals have shut down their work is to shut down the digestive system. They did shut down the digestive system because digestion is not working fine. Whatever foods you have consumed, your body is supposed to extract the nutrients out of it. That process is gone. Because that process is gone, that food is just sitting in your system. Your blood is becoming toxic because that food is stuck in your system. It is producing it's kind of purating from inside, and ultimately sorry, it's getting it's kind of getting not getting out of the body, and bacteria are just proliferating on top of that toxicity. Now this is the kind of input that your blood is getting, because all what is circulating inside ultimately is getting absorbed by your small intestine. Your blood becomes toxic, cells do not receive their nutrition. Over years, it starts with small little problems: cough, cold, sinus, small little nagging problems, like aches and pains here and there. You don't feel at the best of your capacity. Over time, you start to see my skin has started to get bad. Over time, you see my hair starts to fall down, my weight starts to go upside down. So it starts with that small thought, and if that small thought becomes your regular friend, ultimately those hormones which changed inside the body ultimately become a regular part of you, which means on a permanent basis your digestive system is shut down. Now you consume the bestest of foods, that processing unit is not working. That is not going to make any difference to your health. And that's where emotions are important, because foods, body work does make a difference, but your emotions is a bigger force when it comes to your beauty. Then what this system further does is it stops the flow of nutrients to your skin. So our body from the nature's perspective works on the function of on the aspect of survival. Our body always makes help, tries to make us survive, even if it means it has to give up on certain specific body functionalities. For example, if you're so if these the hormones that I'm talking about, these hormones specifically are released from your adrenal, something like a cortisol or your adrenaline, too much rush of adrenaline. What this will do is, because of the release of these hormones or chemicals, your digestion, because it is not functioning fine, and what these hormones are also doing is they are redirecting the flow of those that energy in a different direction. Now this entire energy is directly moving on towards your cells without doing the process of digestion to give you immediate energy to take an action, right? So when you saw that snake and when you ran away, you got immediate energy, which this energy you did not had about, say, 2 to 3 minutes back. That energy, that rush of energy that you got was why? Because some of the processes the body had skipped to give you instant energy. Body considers skin as the last resort when it comes to its priority from the survival perspective. The very first priority for the body from the survival perspective will always be to give you enough energy to be surviving at all times. So if you're in a constant state of stress, if your emotions are not right, sorry, ultimately the flow of nutrients, even if you're consuming the bestest of foods, will not reach your skin or your hair, because internal channels have changed. You cannot do anything about it because you do not have direct control on these channels. How do you take control of these channels? By soothing yourself down, by taking control of your emotions. As your emotions come back to control, there's something called opposite to sympathetic nervous system, parasympathetic nervous system takes control. This parasympathetic nervous system, from the yogic perspective, it's a deep rooted secret. From the yogic perspective, is the key to give you that everlasting beauty, because parasympathetic nervous system is all about your beauty. It's about your health, it's about your wellness, it's about your beauty, because that's where your body is completely free flowing from inside. So ultimately what it means, and it culminates to the idea that taking control of your emotions is very important when you talk of beauty. Over years, I do understand it happens with all of us. It's very easy said than done, but still, making emotions as a priority, being aware of our own self, being, knowing what doesn't work for me, what upsets me, what doesn't upset me, and taking control of your behavior and attitude. Okay, certain things upset me, but I consciously tell myself or take a decision. In yoga, we call it sankalp, which is your promise to yourself. Come whatever, I am not going to get stressed, or I'm not going to be angry on certain things. I will maintain my calm. That is where the beginning of where you start to take control of your emotions. At the physical level, how these emotions convert into to toxic elements that impact your beauty. emotions, because of the release from the adrenals over time continuously, if not taken control, create acidic body environment, and this acidic body environment ultimately creates inflammation inside the body. Now acne is an inflammatory skin condition. Rosacea, psoriasis, eczema are all inflammatory skin conditions. Your falling of hair majorly happens because of too much of a pitta inside your body, which is too much of heat inside the body, which is again a state of inflammation is nothing but too much of heat inside the body. Too much of heat from the medical perspective is called inflammation, right? Next slide, please. Okay, so how do you take control of emotions? Some of the practices that I have practiced on myself over time as I came to know of these concepts, and I made it a priority that okay, emotional health is first, foods, exercise is secondary. The focus shifted from a lot of physical, from the doing mode to being mode, rather, I would say. So how you can take control of your emotions, that's certain things that worked for me, and that this is what I keep guiding others also. The very first thing, your emotions are in traditional Chinese medicine, there is a direct connect between your organs and emotions. Just to give you an example, if you are a very angry kind of a person, your liver will ultimately get impacted, and if your liver by your food choices is clogged, ultimately you will become an angry person. So every emotion has some kind of a direct connect with a specific kind of organ, both in a positive sense and in a negative sense. Like emotion of sadness, emotion of sadness will make your lungs contract. So if you're constantly very sulking and a sad kind of a person, over time you will see the lung capacity goes low, your breathing goes low. And other way around is also true. If you're breathing by any chance through your foods, or if you're asthmatic, or for whatever reason your breathing is not right and that functionality goes low, ultimately you will realize that that sadness or that low feeling ultimately will start to happen to you. What does this mean? We can take control of our beauty or health by switching mode. Like if you think mind mode is good for you, that you can take control on to heal your organs, go that way. If you think physical is something that is easier for you to take control on, take that way. The whole idea is keep that organ in right functional condition, because organ is impacted both by emotions and by physicality. If you take control of your emotions, ultimately some changes will start to happen to your organ functioning, and if you take control physically of your organs, some changes will start to happen to your emotions as well. So these two are very deeply connected. It's a deep rooted science. We will be conducting further workshops on these deep rooted concepts also individually, but as of now, I guess considering time considerations, I'll just wind up this concept here. Then when you wake up early, you spend some initial few hours in the morning on your self-care. Very important, because that is where you're setting the tone for the day. If you're a kind of a person, you just get out of the bed, the very first thing that you're doing is you need a cup of tea on the bed, or you get out of the bed, the very first thing is you switch, or you look at your phone, or you switch on your what do you call laptop, or any electrical gadget, and you do not spend time detoxifying yourself. You do not spend enough time consuming certain kind of liquids to cleanse your body, or doing some movement or some flexible stretching stuff with your body, so that the body starts to open up. In that case, you're holding a lot of toxins inside the body. When the toxins get held inside the body, your organ functioning gets clogged. And now we've just learned that when organ is clogged, it's not functioning, your emotions are getting impacted. So it's a two-way approach. For me, what personally worked, if I talk of my experience, I took hold of the body path, and automatically I realized my mind changed, my emotions changed completely. Okay. It sounds quite superficial. I mean, it's not very easy to relate to it, but I have gone through that transformation myself. I can completely vouch for it. The moment you take control of your physicality, emotions and mind will change. If you take control of your mind, physical body will change. It does happen. It is a long-term process. It is not a quick fix. It is not going to happen in a day. It is a lot of discipline, sankalpa, or self promise to yourself. But if you keep going, ultimately someday definitely it changes. Then practice deep breathing, which is a third aspect. Now, I don't know if you know of this concept. We just talked of beauty tool, most powerful beauty tool. It is your breath, right? How breathing makes a difference to your emotions and your beauty. In your body, if you are a diaphragmatic breather, if you're breathing through your stomach, uh, diaphragmatic breathing is a scientific yogic tool to fade away the stress. So from, okay, it manifests into beauty a little later by the time you realize it. But initially what is going to happen is when you practice deep breathing practices, ultimately, and deep breathing, when you're inhaling and making your stomach go up and down, ultimately it is balancing your sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. And we've just learned, when your sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems are balanced, your body is not releasing those hormones which spoils your beauty. So deep breathing practice, at any point in time, if you are stressed for whatever reason, you don't know what to do, the very first thing that you need to adapt is spare out 5 minutes out of the situation. Something that is making you angry, something that you are losing control, or something that you do not have control on, something you're getting very stressed about, just take out 5 minutes. If not 5 minutes, just 2 minutes. Get into a zone or a room or a space where it is just you, focusing on your breath, making sure that your breath is going in through, till your stomach and coming out diaphragmically. Immediately you will be relaxed. Your both the nervous systems coming into balance. As the nervous systems come into balance, parasympathetic nervous system taking control, automatically the flow of nutrients reaching your cells, that is where the skin is getting its nutrition, hair is getting its nutrition, and you're delaying the aging process. And the last of all, but not the least of all, it's meditation. Meditation is doing the same thing. So through breathing, you are reaching a stage where you're learning to be in a state of stillness for a very long time. Stillness is a state of being and not doing. State of being is super powerful. Like we have just forgotten to be, to not just do anything, just be with ourselves. We cannot. A lot of people are very anxious about just being with themselves. They want to do some activity, some something at every point in time. So when you are into that activity mode, what happens is any kind of activity is a stress for your body, because you need energy to do any activity, right? So even if it is like picking up a glass of water, that is a stress for your body, because somewhere your senses are sensing that, okay, my hands have to move and pick up that glass. That signal passing in itself is too much of a some level of stress. With that level of stress, ultimately uh, it's kind of giving rise to your sympathetic nervous system going up, ultimately leading to a series of those chemical releases, leading to again that flow of nutrients not reaching your cells, because your blood has changed the direction. Digestion is not working fine, and the nutrients are not being passed to your skin, but to the important parts where energy has to be produced. So meditation is again a very super powerful tool for agelessness. Next slide, please. Okay, this is fourth dimension. I will not talk much about it. This is more of something related to your feel factor. All of us relate to it, but this is something like I would just rather give you some pointers. Just do it for yourself and feel if it makes any difference to you. But this fourth dimension, self-realization, it is fuels the second layer and third layer of what we talked about from the Ayurveda beauty perspective, gunam and vayastyak, because these connect you to your inner self and to the nature. Okay, when you're connected to the nature and yourself, you are creating a balance. When you're creating a balance is the route to that ageless beauty that we're talking about. Few practices that you can create for yourself for self-realization, something like just focusing on your breath and walking barefoot on grass early in the morning. It's a very good self-aligning practice. It's a very alkaline practice. Through your body also you absorb alkalinity. It's not just through foods that you take in. Connect with yourself, questioning yourself, like I gave this example of skincare products. You have these shelves full of skincare products. You don't know, which one to choose. If you do not get an answer from anybody on the outside, rather no need to get an answer from the outside. Just think for yourself. Look at the labels. You find chemicals, that product is not for you. Even if it looks very fancy, even if somebody comes and tells you, okay, this is the best product on earth, it's not for you. As long as you are self-connected, you know what is the truth. Connecting with the nature, the very deep-rooted, rather discipline practice that is about connecting with the nature is small little change. Learn to wake up early in the morning and going to bed early in the at night. This is so powerful. I cannot emphasize enough on that, because that morning hours is something where your mind gets refreshed. All the energy from the nature is transmitted to the mind in a very cooling environment. So in Ayurveda we call it vata time, which is a very cooling, airy, flowy kind of a time. That's where you set your mind for the day. If your mind is set, your sympathetic nervous system is set. If your sympathetic nervous system is set, the flow of how the body has to function, the flow of hormones, everything is set. If that is set, your skin is getting the flow of the nutrients. If that pattern is not set, if you wake up in a chaos mode, you wake up in a stress mode, you did not spend or spare time for your mind to get set for the day, then immediately you start your day with the sympathetic mode, which means again that cycle starting back. So next slide, please. Okay, what are few things that you can do for your self realization awareness? One of the practices which I just forgot to mention here, maybe journaling is a very good practice. Gratitude is a very good practice. Now, these are very subtle practices. We have heard of them, but how everything comes together is now what we are trying to understand. These small little practices will bring about a lot of you out of you. Maybe you are, you have a lot of potential, or you have a lot of it inside yourself, whether positive or negative, and it's impacting you at a subconscious level. It is keeping your sympathetic nervous system on. It is impacting all that functionality inside the body. Ultimately, you become disconnected. Somebody who's depressed is disconnected with himself or herself. He or she does not just know how good they are meant to feel, because they just don't know how to make that connect. Few of the practices that help you, journaling is a very good practice. Something like writing a page of diary at night, just observing yourself. What did you do? And it could be about anything. You want to make note of one single aspect of you. What did I eat today? And then analyzing, okay, I ate these things, these many chemicals I ate. Then you become self-aware. Then you know, okay, this is what I'm doing, which you may not focus on otherwise. Then spending time in nature, definitely, since we live in urban areas, not very easy to spend time in nature. But if you have any parks around, do make sure that rather than going to a mall, spend some time in the parks, be in the nature, be with the plants. They teach you a lot. Just be very observant, just feel how they feel, like that coolness in the park, and that heat environment in a polluted environment. You immediately feel the change. Walk on barefoot on grass, be under morning sun to get your hormones activated. So this vitamin D deficiency, we know it's sun related, but it wasn't there a few years back. It did not happen to our previous generations at all. Of course, it is to do a lot to do with your beauty also, because depleting vitamin D also impacts your calcium reserves, and when your calcium reserves are depleting, it directly impacts your hair. So in modern science, we may talk of only calcium, but in Ayurveda, hair is a byproduct of your bones. So if your bones have ample and excess, they will give ample and excess for your hair growth. If your bone is depleting, your hair quality will start to deplete, and you will start to lose out hair. So for strengthening hair, for good quality hair, it is very important that your bones are full of calcium. And calcium gets the cofactor with calcium that works together is vitamin D. Vitamin D, of course, supplements do have it, but nothing better than the natural form. And that's why direct sunlight in the morning has directly to do with your beauty, specifically for your hair health. Then wake up early in the morning. We've talked of it. It suits your mind. And first thing in the morning that you wake up, don't get into the hustle and bustle and immediately start with a cup of tea or just getting into your daily mode. Just activating your sympathetic nervous system, starting to do activities as soon as you get up. Spend, if not much time, at least 5 to 10 minutes sitting in your bed, just meditating, deep breathing, connecting with yourself, and asking yourself, what am I going to do today? Like, what do I like doing? Just creating a very mind map of what you're supposed to do in a day's time. That sorts a lot of it. Next slide, please. Okay, this is the last dimension of our Swarasya's 5-dimensional beauty aspect, which is the energy. Now, this is a very deep-rooted concept. Some part of it I've tried explaining, but this is the aspect which supports your ageless beauty, which is the Vayastya, which Ayurveda talks of as everlasting beauty, which comes when you continuously live a specific kind of a lifestyle, when your breathing is proper, when your foods are clean, when your emotions are in control, when your movement is in sync with your own body. You're not overdoing or underdoing anything, which means you're maintaining balance in every aspect of life. From the physical perspective, it starts with your digestive energy. A lot of us may not be knowing 70 to 75%. So if by any chance you feel any lags in your energy levels are really low by any chance, it is not anything to do with the kind of foods that you're consuming or anything that from the outside that is making you feel that lack of energy experience. 75% of our energy that our body produces, our own digestive tract, digestive processes reuse that energy to process all those hard and wrong foods that we consume, which means when you clean out your foods, you spare out that 75% of energy for other things that you can spare, also keeping intact your beauty aspect of energy created, beauty created through energy. So if your digestive system is consuming a lot of energy, your vitality goes down. Like you can take an example of somebody who has a lot of digestive disorders, which is a very direct indication of your digestive energy not functioning fine. This digestive energy, as it goes low, that gleam in the eyes starts to go off, that dullness starts to happen in your on your face. A lot of people reach out to us for those skincare products for dullness. And I mean, of course, products on the outside do help as long as they have certain elements which can give you that glow. But if you're looking for that everlasting glow, even if you're without makeup and you just look very radiant all the times, it is way deeper. It's to do with the kind of food that you're consuming, how much load are you putting on your energy, on your digestive system, how much energy your digestion is consuming to process those wrong foods which you are not even aware of. Ultimately, even if it is the best food, even if it is the best salad, if there is a load on the on digestion, that salad is not going to give you good skin or right weight or good hair. So you have to really learn the techniques of how to go ahead of making that energy get free at the digestion level. We will be, of course, conducting some workshops around this concept also. But as your digestive energy gets blocked, your organs get blocked. When your organs get blocked, it's basically something like a car which has some spare machinery or parts inside the body working together to make that car run. And if that gets clogged with thick layer of oil, or that toxins get accumulated, the car functioning goes low. Similarly, your body functioning goes low. Your blood flow is carrying a lot of toxins. What your cells are receiving, a lot of toxicity. So physically, your energy is being depleted by, at the very first level, with the kind of foods that you're consuming every single day without even knowing that it's impacting your energy. At the mental and emotional level, those hormonal changes happening inside the body because of your emotions, because of the kind of foods, because of the kind of skincare products which are creating those hormone mimicking chemicals inside the body, creating those nervous upside down nervous signals inside the body. Your spinal disorders, your posture is not right, that signaling at the spine level is not right. And that's why yoga says your body should be very, very flexible, because it's not just about beauty and flexibility. It's about when that those nerves are flexible, the internal communication is very robust. With that communication is what message your brain receives, what kind of quality it has to produce by redirecting your body to what to pass to your cells. So it's a very deep rooted connection. It starts with everything, with your foods, with your mental and emotional state, because if your mental and emotional state is balanced, your hormones are balanced. If your hormones are balanced, you're beautiful till you're ageless. So it's in yogic sciences, we say if your hormones are balanced, you are ageless. So it's as simple concept as that. And spiritually, when you are connected to your own energy, this, as I said, this is more of a self connect, feel good thing that you should be knowing. Somebody comes and tells you this is the best food on earth, this is the best practice for you, you consume a lot of proteins because that will build your muscle. And if that does not make you feel good at the deeper level, it is not for you. Even if it is proven by science or research, it is not doing good to you, because your body is telling you it is not working for me. And if your body will not speak, it will tell you what it is feeling. So that aspect of feeling, which we do not ever think about or keep put focus on at all, is the spiritual side. It is not the religious side. It's basically your connect with your own self understanding, knowing what your body is telling you, and you connect with the nature. How, when I wake up in the morning, how do I feel? When I go to sleep at night, how do I feel? Do I wake up fresh? All these aspects is a part of spirituality. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, how do you work on your energy? As we said, it's a 4-step process. When you talk of energy, it happens at 4 different levels: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual level. At the physical level, the very first thing that you're supposed to do is work on your digestion. Come what, whatever be the scenario. If your digestion is not right, you cannot create ageless beauty. You can go ahead with any kind of expensive skin treatments, any kind of best skincare product. It is not going to make a difference at all if your digestion is not right. So beauty begins with digestion. Improve upon your digestion, automatically you will see your energy levels, your pranic force will get a boost. It will get improved. You will start to feel in your feelings. I mean, nobody will come and tell you that things change. You yourself will change. When you have better energy, you feel good automatically. Things are changing. That is why you're feeling good. Then work on opening block channels. Now my approach of opening block channels has been yoga. I mean, I completely vouch for it. Why? Because as I told you, the concept, it's about ringing your body in all directions, moving body in all directions to kind of create compression, to let those toxins break inside the body. What this will do is block channels at the physical level happen at all parts of the body. Like if you are constipated, if you have high blood sugar levels, if you are prone to mucus, if you have gastric issues, if you have negative emotions, all these clog your body at different channels, at different levels of different channels inside the body. So work on all these areas, and it's a collective effort, which means when you're working on the channels, you also have to work on your digestion, you also have to work on your breathing, you also have to work on your or cleaning your skincare products, getting off products which have a lot of chemicals, moving on to more natural and organic kind of skincare gym. Then yoga goes a long way in cleaning you and opening those channels, because again, because of the concept of working on all these clogged areas and creating that synergy inside the body of breath and movement. And lastly, your skincare and household products, make sure that the very first thing that you should be getting rid of, even if it means going a little expensive in your choices, in your, so you need not use 10 different kinds of skincare products, not required. Choose two, but choose the best ones, which are bare minimum in that is where you will see, you are exposed to much less toxins. The kind of products that you're using maintain your pH balance, do not disrupt your skin barrier. And the skincare that those hormones which are coming from your skincare products or household products, your body is getting free of all those toxins. So these are some of the factors. Of course, as we do some other workshops and webinars on deeper concepts of these, we'll be covering all these in much more detail. But I guess broadly, this sets the base of everything that your beauty is all about. 5 dimensions. Every dimension is important. You cannot just miss on to anyone, because ultimately layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, layer 4, everything works in coordination. It's all within us. So thank you so much. I guess this is what I had to speak about from our 5-dimension perspective. I hope it was a good awareness session for you all. I open the platform now for any Q&A. Maybe you can just post your queries on chat if you want. We'll answer those. We'll take some of the queries, rest of it we'll make a note of it, and we'll try answering those. We'll send you an email on those queries if you have any. So yeah, it's open for Q&A. If you have any queries, just feel free to drop any queries. The 3 giveaways that we discussed about, we will be choosing the winners basis 2 things. One, we would want to know your feedback on what was your experience and your takeaway from the session. And secondly, we are looking from suggestions from you to understand, considering this, beauty as a 5-dimensional aspect of you as a whole about everything. What is the next session that you would want us to conduct on the similar concept of beauty inside out? So yeah, you can just start posting your answers. We will be picking 3 best answers as for our giveaway, and yeah, so we can wind up the session then. So just feel free to write your answers. My first question is, what are your takeaways from this session? What was your experience? How did you like it? Just post it on the chat itself. Post your answers on the chat itself. And secondly, please do share pointers. What are the next topics that you would want us to cover in our future sessions? Again, from the beauty perspective, but considering everything comes together as a whole. So we're waiting for your answers, because quickly, if you can, post your answers, we can wind up the session. Any more answers from anybody? We will be declaring the results tomorrow. You can check out, or you can follow us on our Instagram. We will be declaring the results on Instagram. So, and we will be sending specific mails also to the winners. So you can just keep sending your answers, basis which we'll be declaring the 3 winners by tomorrow. So any other answers, or I think we are good to wind up the session if there's nothing coming. Okay. So what we are doing is, as a part of this brand, I'll just create some awareness about, as a brand, what we are doing. So we are India's first brand, as I mentioned earlier, also to impart beauty education from all these concepts. So we are, of course, we will be gradually the sessions that we do in future. There's a lot coming in. which would be in different content formats. It would be Insta lives that we would be doing, a lot of podcasts on different concepts of beauty that we'd be doing, a lot of blogs, videos we are in the process of creating, and a lot of collaborations with the experts, wellness experts who look at beauty from a holistic perspective from all angles. So we will be inviting experts to come and share their experiences. So that's where we broaden our approach to beauty. So I would highly recommend you all, if you really like this session, just be a part of our community. You can like us on Instagram or you can follow us on Facebook, because these are the platforms where gradually we will be starting to put a lot of content and invite experts also, some real good experts. I mean, very different perceptions of beauty, because being into this field for quite many years, the approach that we have devised is coming from knowledge and experience from various different experts, listening to various different experts, understanding the deep-rooted concept. That's where we've come up with this concept. So we will be inviting all these experts who have this understanding of deep-rooted beauty, which is of course a deep-rooted aspect of your health also, and getting to know more about all these aspects. So the best way for you to be connected with us is to be following us on our Facebook and Instagram page. On Instagram we are there by the name Swarasya Ancient Self-Care, and on Facebook you can find us by Swarasya Ancient Beauty and Self-Care. And you can also look into our website, which is www.swarasya.com. If you have any of the queries, or I would highly recommend, if you have any beauty or skin concerns, the very first thing that you should be looking for is a holistic approach that we've discussed. If you still think that you would want to connect with us, have specific queries around skin or beauty, feel free to drop us a mail on contact@swarasya.com. We will personally answer all your queries. Right, so I guess, yeah, we are good. Just keep watching our Instagram page. We will be declaring the winners tomorrow, and whosoever the winner is, you can just drop us your details on Instagram. You can just message us on Instagram, and we'll be dispatching your giveaways. So yeah, that's all from my side, and I guess we are good to wind up the session. Thank you so much for joining, and looking forward for good, more lovely sessions with you all. Hoping to see you there in our next sessions as well. Thank you so much. Thank you.